Hey everybody! So I had a request about making the seam in the smoking robot, and I figured I'd just put together a quick demo of this for you. It shouldn't take long. Alright, so let's start out with a poly cube. I'm going to just scale this up, something like that. Then just kind of push it together like that. Okay. I'm going to just go to the top, go into face mode. I want to select this face. I'm going to hold down shift and right click so I can extrude a face. I'm not really looking to extrude it up, but what I want to extrude up is the head, but I need to come in first. So what I'm going to do is just use the offset and push this in just a little bit like that. Then I can hold down G again, and with the thickness this time I can actually just extrude up kind of the head. Okay, so there's my base object. Okay, let's put a couple of edge loops in him just so that he softens out kind of in the direction that you want. In this case, what I'm doing is holding down Shift, right-clicking on the object. Remember, Shift is your things to do button. And in this case, what I want to do is insert some edge loops. Okay, nothing particularly complicated. I'm just going to put some loose ones in here because I kind of want them to be loose. All right, so we're going to do that. So we get this. What else do we want? Maybe one down here. Hold his neck in place. Maybe something like this. Maybe something on the side like this and like this. Let's take a look at that. All right. So that's sort of the front of our robot. Okay. All right. So here's our object. You'll notice that your cursor is still in insert edge loops mode. So tap Q to get your cursor back. But so let's say that's sort of the top of the robot. It's not great, but it'll give you an idea. Actually, something interesting. You notice at the bottom here, where it looks like it's sort of caving in on itself. Well, it sort of is because of these faces on the bottom. So if we want to make this kind of look neat and clean, what we can do is just sort of select these faces, and I'll show you the effect. And once we get rid of these faces, you'll notice that the line straight down is nice and clean now. Okay, so now we're at the point where we have the object that you probably are interested in inserting a seam into. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap 1 on the keyboard, go back to the simplest level. What I want to do is I want to get a line or a seam or an edge loop right down the center of this. I'm going to show you a trick. I may have mentioned this class, but probably not, because we've so many weeks and so many tricks. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to create an edge loop right down the center. What you can do is you can actually shift right click and go into edge loops, but what I'm going to do is actually select the options. Okay, over here in the options, I'm actually going to select multiple edge loops, but I'm going to set my multiple to 1. Hello, 1. And if I click in here, what it does is it creates one edge loop at the absolute center, right down the middle. Okay, so that's kind of cool. Put that back where it was. So now that I have this edge loop and it is selected, I'm going to tap select just to turn off insert edge loop again. And I'm going to hold down shift and right click, and now I get options for edges. Okay, and in this case what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into bevel edge, open up my settings, and depending on the scale of this thing, in this case I think 0.1 will be fine. I'm going to say apply. There you go, and that gives me a little edge down the middle here. Okay, so now it took that one edge and opened it up, so I actually have a row of faces. So what I can do is I can select one, hold down shift, and double click, and must have deleted that somewhere along the line. No big deal. Probably when I deleted those. So now I have this, just like that, okay? And I can do an extrude on this. So what I'm going to do is hold down shift, and I'm going to do an extrude on this, okay? So down here is my little gizmo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down control when I select this with my left mouse button. The advantage of that is holding down control gives you very fine control. Okay, so that's going to work out fine for me. Actually, what I'm going to do before I do that is I'm going to set this to the center hold down Control, and just bring that in just a little bit, maybe like that much. All I'm looking to do is create the edge loop around there, the first edge loop. Now I'm going to hold G again, and I'm going to tap this. That little icon there, the difference is, what it does is it brings it into world space right in the center. So in this case, for this tool, that's going to make our life a lot better. So I'm going to hold down Control, and I'm going to bring this down. Doesn't really matter how much. Let's something like maybe 0.5, negative 0.05. I'm going to tap G one more time. And this silly thing that you end up having to chase all over the place, I'm just going to maybe this down to minus 0.2. And then tap G. And again, put this there. And this time, I'm going to use the offset, holding down Control, and just bring that in again, like 0.02. This one just kind of a fast, down and dirty way to create my edge loops there. Okay? You could do that all by hand. You could just create the first one, bring it in, and then go back and put your edge loops in. Doesn't really make any difference whatsoever. So in this case then, I'm going to bring this out, tap 3, and I got the beginning of that seam. Now it looks a little soft on this side, which is the outside, but you'll notice that we have no containing geometry on the outside here. We have it on the inside, but not the outside. So the answer to that is to shift, right click, go back to insert edge loop, and just put one edge, let's say right there, and put one edge right about there. Now again, if you left this thing to multiple edges, it probably popped to the center and you're like, what happened? So don't worry about it. If that occurs, just undo it, hit reset tool, and then you're back in business. Okay, so I'm going to hit select, object mode, F3, and now I got nice clean edges there. Okay, and my robot body is starting to move, and that's exactly how you're going to go about inserting your edges. As a matter of fact, you may notice that as we're doing this, you can see it's smooth, but it's a little bit chunky. We can see the polygonal edges in here. One of the things you can do to smooth that out is, or smooth how it's viewed out, is go into the attribute editor, and you can either get to that by clicking on it over here, or Control A will flip, and that'll give you to the attribute editor. And what we want to do is in that second node, the shape node, we can go down here to where it says smooth mesh, and we can take this subdivision, the preview subdivision, and we can actually take that up to 3. Now you notice that's a lot smoother looking, a lot cleaner looking. And there you go, there's that seam. Alright, hopefully that was helpful, guys, and have a great night.